People interview series. And today with us is Mai Niemi. Mai is a fashion designer working out of Finland that produces distinct knitwear clothing and accessories. Mai Niemi has predicated her business and designs on her concepts of contributing to the health, wellness, and beauty of her clients. She has an intrinsic relationship to multidimensional energies which she interprets through her work. She is deeply connected to the Kalevala, a cosmogonic narrative of Finland, and to the ancient Finno-Ugric culture. And you have to forgive me because I do not speak Finnish. She is known as the Finnish fairy godmother and has been described as a fashion alchemist who weld spirit into form, creating new earth fashion. So I'd like you to, with me, welcome Mai Niemi. And before we begin talking with her, we're going to watch a short video. And just waiting for my mouse to cooperate with me.
It's something that you can use every day to put on something extra to make you feel good about yourself. The inspiration that I get from all indigenous people that use very colorful coats and clothes also with coats. We have our own Finno-Ugric culture, and we have the Sami people here in Finland and the Finno-Ugric people all over the Russia and also in some parts of Europe that have very close culture that is very close to the nature too. They still live in that. They worship nature and derive their energy from there. The idea is like in the old folk costumes, that every garment is one size, and then you can decorate it with accessories. So it sort of renews itself all the time, from season to season. There's no age limits. I have customers from 8 to 90 approximately, and it's easy. They're easy to fling on top of anything. So it's kind of an idea that you can recycle your wardrobe and renew your old clothes with these things. So you could call it like ethno-futuristic fashion that is very modern for today's people to be able to express themselves and to get the nature connection, even in a city environment like this.
So again, I want to welcome Mai.
Thank you.
Mai, and you can hear me just fine?
Yes, I can hear you just fine. Hope you hear me well.
I can hear you just fine now. So what started your interest in the world of fashion, or when did it start?
Well, of course, I've always been interested in. There are different stages, and there were times that I wasn't so aware of what I was doing, and then I was more conscious, became more conscious of what my mission would be in fashion. But I knew already at the age of 15 that I would be a fashion designer. And that's a very funny story too, how that became. But
Yeah,
yes,
I'd love to hear what happened at age 15.
15, yes. I think it started really from there that we had a career advisory at school, and they asked me what is the profession that I want to choose to be. And I said, I've decided to become a fashion designer. And then there were two guys there and they were laughing at me. I said, oh, it's going to be too difficult. So we advise you to become a nurse. But just recently I sort of realized, okay, I became the fashion nurse. So, but isn't it funny? Yeah. But I never gave up. I
Yeah.
became a fashion designer.
So you told them that you wanted to be a fashion designer, and their reply was that you should be a nurse instead.
Yeah, yeah. But I kept my
So
head.
yeah, it sounds like you were that you encountered some resistance very early on.
Yes. Yeah. Well, but that's the way I had
So
decided. I knew.
so what happened after that point?
Uh, well, I forgot all about it, but then I went to London for a summer to study, to work and to study languages. And I thought, well, that was quite a cool place. So when I was graduated, I went back to London, and after a while, I realized that I was applying for a fashion school. So actually, it was the plan of my soul to do it, but not in Finland because I've heard that it's very difficult in Finland to get to study fashion. So I went to London, and eventually I got into the best schools. But you know, when you decide in life something and then just sort of it just happened to me. So I got into St. Martin's, and that's where it sort of began then for real.
Oh, what was your time in fashion school like? Was it
Pardon?
what you were anticipating? What was your time in
Uh,
fashion school like?
oh, it was I think one of the best times in my life because it was so creative and so open-minded and accepting, and I felt really great there because it was such a creative environment. And St. Martin's was really the best school for me because it was um, individual, very individual tutoring. So I think that was also kind of a choice for my soul because, well, the teachers, the favorite slogan was that if we say that you can't do it, don't believe us. So I think that tells quite a lot about the attitude there.
So did you have internships that you worked with through the that school?
I did study evening school before when going to the school, and then I had to take levels, A levels and O levels. So I studied 1 year in London University. So I had A levels and O levels there before I could apply to this fashion arts college because it was part of the university. So I did work
Okay,
beforehand quite a lot.
okay. You know, when I use the word internships, I meant how did you get experience with completing designs at the School of Fashion?
Well, we didn't have internships. No, we
You didn't
just
have
studied.
internships,
But of
so you
course,
just studied and
yeah. in that time we didn't do internships.
How did your fashion process evolve?
I mean, there or after.
Well, through that whole process, I mean, you enroll in St. Martin's Fashion in London, and you said that it was one of the best schools at the time, or the
Yes,
best school at the
yes.
time.
They wanted to make us us. I mean, we weren't allowed to copy or anything. We were just encouraged to be ourselves and express ourselves and also our native roots. So actually, the whole thing what I'm doing now started there because I was doing my thesis on Kalevala, the Finnish epic, and its influences on Finnish art and design. So they really encouraged me to do that, and everybody else to also express their roots, not to forget who they were. So it was quite exceptional. They were not doing any clones there. We weren't allowed to
They
copy
weren't doing
anybody.
okay. So even at that point in time, you were told to basically explore your ethnic roots,
Yeah,
your
yeah,
cultural heritage. And so,
yes.
as far back as you can remember, then in terms of your fashion school experience, you were already engaging this, you could say, these archetypes or these ideas of the Finnish fairy tale.
Yes, yes, I did. I even made the first sketches there and drawings because, well, when you feel far away from home, you can see home better. So I could
Mhm.
see what my culture was like, and I thought it was pretty interesting. So I started to explore there. But of course, I had access for the best libraries and um, places and museums, so I was able to discover a lot of things there. Because we are,
I see.
well, when you're young, anyway, you want to know who you are and where you come
Mhm.
from and things like that. So that was good
So you
opportunity.
use the libraries. So you use the libraries and the
Yes,
museums.
yes.
Tell me how you incorporated those into your evolution.
Uh, well, I was able to study the ancient myths of the Scandinavian Finns and to find out how the Finns were known or what they were known on the ancient times. And of course, I was able to study all certain decades that I was really interested about. I made a study of the fashion of the Belle Epoque era too. So, but when you do things, you don't realize what you're doing at that moment. But later on, of course, they're all part of this story anyway. So even that
S-
study in Victoria and Albert Museum that I did. But
Can you
it
tell
was
us a little bit
amazing.
more about that?
Well,
The studies inside of the museum thing?
you mean the Belle Epoque or the Finns?
Yes. Yeah, the Belle Epoque, I think that's how you pronounce it. How does that?
Yes, it relates it relates to something that I've been doing this spring. So it's something that came into my designs. And when you're young, you should do and try a lot of things that maybe had something to do with your past lives and things. So um, I realized that recently that was the reason I studied that particular fashion age was the 1900 to 1920. So so it sort of came this spring into my designs.
Okay. Um,
I
I know
can
that
talk about
we
it
had
later,
looked at.
but mm,
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to see how it fits. I wish I had some images of it. But you said it was the 1900s to the 1920s, and
yes, that was. That was a very busy time politically in Finland, and very culturally very rich time here. We were still part of Russia, and there was a lot of busy traffic to St. Petersburg and Helsinki, and there were artists that were involved with the awakening of the Finnish culture and the Finnish people, and eventually it sort of we had the revolution in Russia, but then Finland became independent. So these people affected to the cultural uprising of the Finnish to become more aware of their own culture, and especially the Kalevala. And of course, there was this famous painter Akseli Kalinkalela, who also, by the way, lived in Taos for a few years, painting there in America. But we recently had an exhibition here in Finland this spring, and this is part of the story of the Nicholas Roerich. That was we found out that they were friends, and that Nicholas Roerich and Helena Roerich, they also lived in Finland that time, and he was very into Kalevala and the Finnish culture, and created the costumes for the Rite of Spring, inspired by the Kalevala. So it's sort of all bits and pieces came together, and then we talk about the multidimensional fashion, but in fact, yeah, that was my recent work, that I work with them to create the new collection. Believe it or not, but that's the way it happened. They connected.
No, I think that's really interesting.
That is
And I
very
think that
interesting.
maybe as we, maybe as we move forward too, if there are people who have questions, that they could type them in, and maybe we can sort of incorporate them as well into this dialogue. But I wanted to also ask you to describe more thoroughly the Kalevala and how that has affected or influenced your work over time. I know that we've talked a little bit about that, but I wonder if there's more for you to say around that topic.
Oh yes,
since
it's not that it is very Finnish. It's very global story that is not so well known. The Celts and the Vikings, they have done a lot of promotion on them. And even the Nordic, they're much better. But I realized that Kalevala actually, somebody said, is the most important book in the world after the Bible. So it has really ancient wisdom that I think would be very beneficial for the world today, especially the young people, because it's got so much wisdom that they would be using. But basically, it's a story about the the history of the Finns, our gods and goddesses and heroines. It's our far ancient history. But to put it in a few words, it's not so easy. But it has got stories that esoterically it's most important and interesting, because that's what Madame Blavatsky or Röris or the Tolkien created the Lord of the Rings, by the way, inspired by Kalevala, and Rudolf Steiner also visited Finland actually at that time, beginning of the 19th century or 20th century, how do you say it? So it has affected a lot of people, and even Steiner prophesied that the future European culture would be Kalevala, based on the Kalevala. But the stories really are most interesting, and the esoteric side of it, because it's actually all about the ascension, all about what is happening to us right now. and it's an ever-going story. It's a story about the development of the consciousness of humankind from the very beginning, from the
And
creation.
so this Kalevala is somehow pictured or imaged or expressed through your clothing work, your fashion work.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it. But of course, there's more of it. But the more I think about it, I'm also, by the way, I'm a Feng Shui consultant, and it's my Feng Shui teacher said that Kalevala is a Feng Shui book, and the whole Feng Shui idea supposedly come from China, but it's all based on the Nordic shamanism. And shamanism was, you know that in Siberia there's a lot of Finno-Ugric cultures that still are very shamanic, and it sort of traveled, this Nordic shamanic culture traveled all the way to China. Here it was sung from generation to generation, but then the Chinese invented writing, so they were able to put down things, and in there it developed into Taoism, martial arts, Feng Shui, and Chinese medicine. So it's sort of going in a circle, it's coming back again. So it's something that's quite universal, though, but the roots just might be here.
So
Because
tell me
in
how
the olden
it's
times it
pictured.
was a very big area. This was the whole ancient north. It was just not Finland, but the Finns wrote it down or sung it. Kalevala was originally sung. It wasn't written. So it was transferred in the memory of the body consciousness into the future generations from the rune singers. So it was like something that was in the memory storage of the body.
Stored in the consciousness of the tribe.
Yeah.
So
So
this Kabbalah philosophy has, I guess, deeply influenced your work. And I guess my question is, as I see it here in the commercial that we looked at, how are you finding that your work influences consciousness of those around you? You know, what is your aim with your fashion work?
it's you understand that this thing, it's not conscious. It comes through me. I'm not a very conscious when I'm designing something. It's just takes a shape. But it all was. I became conscious about this. What I was doing. I can pinpoint it to a day. It was 2nd of May 1999 that I was downloaded this mission to do this sort of clothing. And if I was lucky, I was at first I got straight away I could read what was in it because I got all the information about it, what was involved with these creations, the symbols, the colors, the forms, everything. But that was a process that I must say that particular day, it was such a big bang. It was not a very faint signal. It was a big signal for me as a designer, start doing this. And little by little, I recovered from the shock and started to understand what was I really creating, and I've been doing it ever since that, and now I'm much more wiser about what's going on and what's this for. But obviously, it's all about activating the light body with the certain shapes and certain forms and symbols and sacred geometry.
Can you go into this in a bit more detail about what you were downloaded with?
It was something I became conscious about my passion. It was like I was giving the recipe and the mission to do this. And it was explained that uh, there will be a time in the near future that people will choose to eat differently, and they want to wear different kind of clothes that would be matching more to their vibration. So I needed to start to work on that. I think this sort of comes from my I am presence. So it's very multi-level experience even for me. I mean, at first I didn't know what this is all about, and well, but now that we're having this conversation, I'm quite sort of relaxed on this because I know more now that what this is all about. But imagine first to think of a fashion that's for our ascension or our well-being, or for a light body activation or something like that. That's quite weird, even for me. And I'm a non-credo person. I think I was taken for a long time to even believe this myself, but I had to give in. Obviously, this
Well,
is needed.
it's a very interesting idea. So you had to give in.
I
How
had to
long
give
did it take you to recover, to recover from this download? You said it took you a while to recover from it.
in. Of course, it was such a big event. It took 3 hours, 3 days, and a year, and it's still continuing. Uh, but I was studying Feng Shui at that moment, and I had just started that. So, and before that, actually, I thought I was the only being on this planet. But then I started to study Feng Shui, and those were the people that were very interested about the energies. So I started testing these things with them that I was creating, and they said they were able to sense the energy, because it's all about the energy that I put into these clothes. And then one woman said, actually, this garment that I got from you has changed my life. So they encouraged me to work on this. It changed their lives, but she was really honest about it, because there was some certain energy in these clothes that people really felt. And I think they were able to sort of feel more nurtured and home and themselves with them, on them. So that was the whole idea, to, the mass fashion really, or the whole mass culture is taking you away from you, and your soul is trying to get you into be more of yourself. So this is fashion for all of us that don't fit in the other culture. But
So
it's
maybe
also,
fashion for our soul.
yes, the original problem, because this is, you understand, this is spirit and matter together. But the original problem I had, that I'm only 5'2", so I never could find clothes that fit. And also the clothes that I was getting from the shops, I didn't feel at home at all. I felt I was a stranger. So I really had to create clothes for myself first. But then I've been sort of realizing that I made clothes for all of the change makers who don't fit in anyway. So this is it. Does it make
Yeah,
sense?
It does make sense. I mean, I think there are a lot more questions to ask, but let's let's take a look at some of the pieces. Um, and I have a view here that we can choose from. Is this one to talk about in terms of the Kabbalah and in terms of
Yeah, the former ones that you've been advertising with, that's also the. Can you put that on the first one?
the one that has this one here?
Yeah. Well, yes, this is the shape of the garment. I feel it's like uh, wings. It's like well, it presents the golden age, and this color is like I do the flower of life a lot in different ways. So this represents that flower of life, and of course my ponchos are like rotating stars with wings, and of course there's always the rose there. But this is it has got the four directions, so. Like the stars or 4, 5 pointed stars. So it's kind of empowering. It comes from the feng shui too, that you're in the captain's position and you're in the center of your for the four directions. So you're in the position of power, and that's the one of the purposes of this design is to empower you. But I can, yeah, show me the picture so I can say a few words because
Well,
obviously people want to know.
yeah, and you had mentioned the rose piece, and you said that the rose piece is also here. And one of our listeners wanted you to speak about the rose.
The rose. Do you have a better picture of the rose? I sent you a few
Let's
pictures,
take a look. Is that
but I
also
can
the
talk
rose here?
about these. No, I can talk about this one too. No, I sent a
Okay,
little.
so maybe it's something that you can talk about. These are the
Oh,
images I
yeah,
have
the
up here.
rose. I think that's the way that the spirit works with me is that I may get a shape, but it can work directly like that. My hands are directed to create something. Like this rose. I just been in a tour in southern France to discover all these places where Mary Magdalene had lived and worked. So when I came back from there, I was guided to create a rose. And then I realized that it was her kind of giving me a material symbol that we can wear that would represent the sacred feminine energy. It's a six-pointed star shape with Venus connection and a spiral in the middle, like a cosmic snake or spiral. And it's a symbol of the sacred womanhood. And actually, me and my friend had witnessed a beam coming out of it too. So it's something that I call it the good spirit rose that you can always put on something that keep you feel happy and joyful. But you can also use it for healing. It's very powerful when you wear it on the throat or in the heart area, but you can put it anywhere. It's just, I think, kind of device that I would say it's something like feminine technology. That's something that you can wear. It's not a gadget with like telephones or something, but it's something that you can wear that it still works because it's got the geometrical shapes.
So we have a person asking, is it a symbol of the divine feminine?
Yes, it definitely is.
Okay.
It's all
No, you said that it would. Go ahead.
yes, of course. This is part of the whole idea with my fashion is to bring in the divine feminine energy, like this color you can see there. the rays of sun coming from the sun. You know that Finnish
Yeah, and
language
this.
is, yeah, you know that Finnish language is actually very symbolic. I can tell you a little story about one word. It's called love. In Finland, love means rakasta, and when you translate it, it means the god of the sun is baptizing you. So you get sun baptized when you are in love. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. So it's I don't know where that comes from, but that's it's quite symbolic.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, it's really pretty. So you were saying earlier that the the rose is essentially a six-pointed star turned on its axis.
Hmm.
You
Yeah, it's
said,
a
I think
six
you said
pointed.
that it's a six-pointed star, but
Yeah, it's a six-pointed
to
star
have
like Merkaba.
like a Merkaba.
Yeah,
Okay.
the two
But you
trend.
also called it a rose.
Yes, somebody sees a turtle in it, but
Hmm.
it does have a reference to the Finnish sample. It's all. I think the rose is also a sun disk, a small sun disk. That's something that
Okay.
Kalevala calls the sample, which is kind of a frog or a turtle too. But it's a longer story. But it's a small, compact sun disk. Um, because in Kalevala, the sample is the sun disk, but it's also the Excalibur. It's something that we've lost and we are creating it back.
Okay. We have a listener asking, amazing, do the sun disks have this energy in it?
Yes, yes, they do. Uh,
And I'm not sure that I'm clear on the question or the answer.
yeah, the divine
So I think
feminine
maybe,
energy. Yeah.
so the divine feminine energy has the energy of the sun inside of it, which is represented in your work.
Also, yes, it's also in the color. I mean, connection to the sun to get the alignment right.
Hmm.
It's all about the
Would you say
alignment.
it's like a, would you say it's like a vibrational property? Like you chose here for this is yellow
Yeah,
or gold. And so that yellow or gold represents, I think you called it a new age. I forget what the word is they used.
golden age.
Golden age.
Yeah, that's what we're preparing for. So, well, it's my favorite color anyway. Gold, yellow.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite colors too. Let's
Yeah.
take a look at this picture here.
Well, yeah,
And
that's
go
yes.
ahead.
Yeah. Now that you chose this picture, I really sort of had to go into it myself because I didn't realize because what it really talks about. But that's also that dress or apron is called Aino, which is one of the figures from Kalevala also. And her name is, when you translate it, it's like the only one. And she was kind, like the first emancipated woman, because, like in this picture, she's walking into the water. She drowned herself because she was forced to marry an old man that wasn't her choice at all. So it kind of symbolically drowned all her womanhood and the joy of being a woman in Kalevala. But that's what happened to the divine, the feminine energy in this planet anyway. So it's kind of been lost, the joy of being a woman, the womanhood. But
Mm,
also Excalibur and the sun disk, they also were thrown into the waters, and the Finnish Sampo, that was the source of the happiness and the well-being and abundance, because they were misused. But she was misused too. But in this picture, the shape of the garment is like two triangles downward, and she's wearing also one of the sun discs with 12 positions of
This
support, 12 sun discs. Yeah,
this is
12. Yeah,
this is the sun disk here.
it has got 12 smaller sun discs. It's kind of the sample. It represents the 12 positions of support, and in the 13th in the middle, that will be you yourself. It's kind of coming together, all these aspects of yourself. And it's a small sun too. That's the sun disk. So I keep sort of recreating these symbols in many different ways, so everybody can choose their favorite.
The favorite expression of it.
Yeah,
No,
it
I don't know
takes
if we are clear on this or not, but in terms of this garment, do you go so far as to knit it yourself?
yes.
Do you? Yes. So, like, piece here is entirely fabricated.
Yeah, I've done it all myself.
So, how do you create? Like you said, her dress, or you call it an apron. It's two triangles,
Yeah.
and you actually take the threads or the what do you call it? The fiber, and you weave them into these designs.
Yeah, it's a technique. But I remember I was in the fashion college that they said that if we say you can't do it, don't believe us. So I always remember that, and I created techniques to do whatever I wanted to create. So I created this technique to be able to do something like this. So it's a lot of
That's
work in
incredible.
it.
Yeah, how long would it take you to create this piece here?
2 days.
2 days. And
Mm.
how many hours?
Well, I usually work from 9 to 9, so quite a lot of hours. But I don't I don't use linear time, you know. I do things till they're ready. So it's very hard
Okay.
to say how long something takes. I make something till it's ready. So it's more cyclical because
Okay.
these things contain time and they're totally timeless. So I have to make it in a different time, um, cyclical time. So it's
Yeah,
not
no, I can
linear.
understand the concept.
Yeah.
And I think I have a better, after you talking about this piece, I think I have a better understanding of how it's representative of Kalevala, that I can understand here this picture portrays, the myth or
Yeah.
the experience is embodied there. And it even has a name that identifies, a female figure from that myth, I know.
Mhm.
So I think that's, it's really beautiful.
Thank you.
That I think through that people, like this woman who is wearing this can connect to that energy,
Yeah.
not only in
And
terms of the garment itself, but also through the legends and the myths surrounding it.
she doesn't look Finnish at all. She could be from Ethiopia because this is a universal story. It's a global story about what happened to the women. And in some places they're still in that
Mhm.
I
No,
know
I think that
story
that's true.
because they are forced to marry against their will. They're forced, you know. But in here we are more liberated, thank God.
Yeah, I think that we forget
Yeah.
that in other countries and other cultures still arranged marriage, tribal marriages work.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I know people who have actually had arranged marriages.
Oh yeah.
S- So I want to move on and take a look at a couple more of these and maybe take some
Yeah,
questions from some of the listeners to see, if they'd like to ask some questions of you directly. This is
yeah.
another piece. Do you have any thoughts that you want to share about this one, or
Well,
does this seem more relevant? Is this one that you'd like to talk about?
mm, there's so much stories in here. But she's got the rose line on the hat. That was actually what I did. Worked with this. I worked with Röhrig and Helena and Nikolai Röhrig this spring, and made this special collection that's inspired by the Rite of the Spring. That's Stravinsky ballet that was quite controversial when it came out 1913. So that was the Belle Epoque time. There's the rose,
Mhm.
and there's always the number 3 also. That's sun rays, like the triple flame coming from the center of the sun. It represents the heavenly nectar of the feminine nurturing love and energy. And I realized that this net, the web she's wearing, it represents the kind of a grandmother energy, the spider web that we are also weaving, like you and me now, and everybody attending or listening later. And then she's wearing the rose line garland that has 7 roses in it. That I think represents the Pleiades, the 7 sisters, and also the 7 chakras. The rose is also the chakras. So we get everything sort of
Mhm.
turning and whirling while sort of it affects in the body space, But this was really a multi-time experience to be able to work with Nicholas Rory and Kalen Kala. By the way, Nicholas Rory is Ascended Master. I don't know if you know him, but he has a museum in New York that I visited. So that was, and Stravinsky also was a friend of Chanel, and I feel the spirit of Chanel is working with me too, because she used to say that freedom is always in fashion, and I think for me it's the also the same idea to liberate, get people out of boxes,
Mhm.
to get them out of their closets, you know,
Yeah.
to be free to
Has it
express
been has it
themselves.
Mai, has it been easy for you to champion this work?
No, no, no.
Did you
It's
say
been a
no while laughing?
it's been a big challenge, of course, of course. But as I told you, sometimes giving up has never been the option. I haven't been able to give up. Um, there's been a lot of shunning and excluding, and yeah, it hasn't been easy at all.
Oh,
So many times I wanted to give
a lot
up
of
because yeah, never fit in.
you said you said a lot of
Um,
shunning and excluding. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
yes. Well, I've been the black sheep in the fashion circles, especially in Finland. I think the Finnish design is it's concept, but it's sort of become like status quo. It doesn't evolve. But we come to an age that everything has to evolve. So I I've been thinking about it like this. A few hundred years ago, we thought the common belief. It's all about the beliefs. The common belief was that the Earth was pancake, and then there were few people who started to contradict, and they said no, it's round, and they really had a hard time, and some of them lost their heads too. And now we are in a new phase. Then some of us are saying that the world is multidimensional, so we're experiencing a lot of uh, not true. What are you talking about? Thing because well, imagine that all these change makers that were telling that the world is round, um, uh,
hmm
won in the end. And of course, Christopher Columbus uh, sailed to find America. We find the new world. We found the new world because he had um, got this new belief system that the world is actually round. When he would have never discovered America if he thought it would be a pancake. But still, a lot of people live in that linear pancake time. So, um, but now we are in the change makers are changing the world by saying it's multidimensional and we are interconnected. And then we have the invisible world and the visible world, and it's a big job. So no wonder we get a lot of excluding and shunning because we don't fit in. But that's the whole idea that we are not supposed to fit in.
So, according to you, why don't we fit in? Why are we not supposed to fit in?
Because we are the change makers.
The
We are the
change
ones that
makers.
say that the world is actually round, it's not a pancake.
hmm
So, yeah, it's challenging.
So, in your own writings, you make note of the fact that you were referred to the Finnish fairy godmother. And when I've read that a couple times, and I have to wonder if that is a name or a title that you like, or if it's a name or a title that has just sort of been stuck to you that you have decided to champion in some way.
Well, it was quite recently given to me by actually half American. But in a way, it's when I decided to come back to Finland, it was Finland has really given me a hard time because, well, you Americans, you are very keen on all the new things in what's going on this planet and very interested about what I do. But in Finland, the things don't evolve that way. So I would really love Finland to be in the forefront of everything new, whether it was not only technology but fashion and Finnish design. So it's been challenging to be right here. Maybe it would be a bit different story if I stayed in London, but
You
definitely
think
it's
that you
been
would have been,
challenging. Yeah, my friends that said I would be a great success if I stayed in London, but I realized that I had to come back here to create this. So no, maybe it's
but
time for me now to go back into London to go back to the world.
it's very interesting to me because I on occasion will travel to like these like New Age conventions. They're basically New Age conventions, and they're like one of them is titled Karma Fest. And when you walk around and you look at the way the young people are dressing, while it's not your designs, there certainly seems to be um, very, very similar. There are a lot of similarities to your work. And I don't think that it's something that our culture, especially our young New Age culture, would fight. But to me, this is something that they would wildly embrace because it seems to be something that they could embrace that's representative of a new age, a golden era, that they don't have to somehow put together out of a pre-existing wardrobe. So I
Mm,
have to wonder, do you understand what I'm saying?
not quite, but
Like if I walk around at say Karma Fest and if I took pictures of some of especially since these clothing are designed for women, if I took pictures of the young women at these festivals, you would see many similarities between,
mm,
at least overtly, your work and how they are dressing.
yeah,
And I've been to many of these, and I think that they would embrace your work wholeheartedly And it's interesting that a part of you has decided to stay in Finland, where these people are not accepting of your work.
Yeah, yeah, that's a dilemma. So I have to get out of this design prison, go to America, go where people are love my work, and
Well, I
yeah,
think that they would really love your work, and I think that that's why I love this introductory slide because it has your web address on it. And maybe there are some other addresses that you can give before we close the show today, where you state what some web addresses of some places where people can access and buy your work.
yeah,
Because the one that I have right here is myniemi.com, and I
yeah.
wonder, is that a shop?
That's a
Is that
shop
a
too.
shop that you? It's a
Yeah,
shop too. Are there any other shops that you have?
yes, yes. This is the myname.com is a new shop that we are updating with my American Finnish friend, and then I have shop.myniemi.com that I'm updating myself.
Shop.
Myniemi not dot between. Shop Myniemi. Take the dot off between my and Niemi. No, shop dot my Niemi together. Yeah, that's the one I am updating myself. So there is more stuff in there, but we are updating
Okay.
also the other. But you asked a little bit about the fairy godmother of Finland. Yes, in a way I am, because I am helping Finnish design to evolve. You see, in that way I don't mind that thing. And then I have a blog address, yes, myfashiontales.com, MAI Fashion Tales, .fi, oh, that's fi, not com, F-I,
FI.
F-I, yeah, that's Finland, yeah,
So myfashiontales.fi.
yeah, and myniemi.com, that's the main shop that we are developing to a more international, because
Okay.
I'm very trying to get very international now, so we are building connections and trying to find distributors in America, and also we are working to China, because in China there's a big market and they are very into individual clothing and fashion, and I have a Chinese assistant too, so and another one in Shanghai that used to work for me. It's the picture that we looked at before. She's actually one of my interns. That is one of these new young adults. That she's the one that's been working. No, the other one with the hat. She's been here
With
for
that.
about a year now. She's originally adopted from Russia, but she's been working with me for about a year now, and she's one of those crystal young adults that started to come to me because they're also the change makers, but they're a little bit of lost. But she's studying fashion now. I helped her in many ways, and she's helping me here. But she wants to learn different. She wants to learn by doing. She's not into theory, but they started coming to me because I think basically this fashion is also very much for the crystal children and young adults and the new generation that's very much also in China and even the Karma Fest, and they very much love these things because it sort of resonates to them. So they are gathering around me because I've been teaching her about designing, how to design multidimensionally. And I would love to teach others too, because this can be taught. It's a new way of designing.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So have
together
you
with
contemplated, are you currently offering any classes to
uh,
teach your methods to other people?
I would be happy if somebody invited me, but in Finland, nobody's really been so interested. So I
Maybe we
wonder
need to buy
why.
you a plane. You need to get you a
Yeah.
plane ticket out of
Yeah,
Finland
well,
for
I'm
your
looking for
designs.
some business angels will help me out with these investors and distributors. So because it's really not
Nice.
happening here, it's happening maybe in America, in China.
I think that sometimes it's our culture doesn't really allow us to advance in the way that we should. I think, I have a practice where I work with people 5 days a week in terms of their personal life and make progress toward their goals and aspirations. And oftentimes, the resistance that a person will feel even from their husband or wife, from their boyfriend or girlfriend, is enough to stop them from moving forward. And, you're talking about being in a whole culture of people, not just
Mm,
trying to overcome the resistance of one person, but you're talking about trying to overcome the resistance of an established culture.
yeah, but of course the this time now it's very it means that we can't hide anymore. I mean, the time of hide and seek is finished. We have to show, we have to be who we are. That's the whole idea. We have to go out into the world because we, each of us, have a different gift that we came here with. It's not just individual, it's also the country. Like in America, you have you show people what you teach people the whole world about freedom. Maybe in Finland we teach about connecting to the nature, but
Hmm.
even a country has a mission. Like we individually have missions. My mission is to, we are making the bringing the heaven into earth. My job is to bring the fashion heaven into earth. So
I like that.
yeah, fashion heaven on earth. That's my job. But you have a different job. Everybody has got. So, but the whole idea is that we first have to come out of our closets and be ourselves, to meet ourselves, to really look into what I came here with. What is my mission here? So, uh, this
Yeah,
fashion
I agree.
also helps people to find that. What is my expression? And it's like a visiting
I
card to show this is who I am. But it's
I
a
think
role
it's
play.
very
It's fun. It's fun. It's not supposed to be serious at all. It's kid stuff.
I think it's very beautifully said. I
Mm.
want to open it up a little bit to some of those who have joined us to be able to ask questions. If they have any questions that you'd like to ask Mai, if you type them in the chat box, I think Mai can see them as well.
Mm. You mean the chat box? Yeah, Barbara is very.
There's people are typing. A couple people are typing their questions if they have any. If they'd like as well.
Okay.
We'll probably we have about 10 more minutes, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Or if there's
fairies
anything
and
else,
trees.
Mai,
I know Barbara is very into fairies and trees. Yes, it's
yeah,
all about
or
the.
Mai too.
Yeah,
Or
it's all
my too,
about.
just so you know, if there's anything else that you think is really important to share with those who are either tuned in or who will be tuning in the future, I'd like you to feel free to have an opportunity to share some of your other thoughts if you have any
Oh,
also.
mine. Uh, uh,
So I'll let you look. We have Barbara's asking a couple questions, fairies and trees,
yeah,
elementals.
yeah, I know that's important too, but I think, yeah, to get really our body consciousness to wake up and to work with the all the spiritual world together. We are not supposed to create on our own. We created plastic. Come on, who's it? It's serving for it. You have to consider when you're creating that you're creating together with the nature and with the spiritual world. This is all about creating together. And of course, the fairies and elementals, they help everything grow. And their contribution is really vital for us. And of course, fairies, they love the fashion because it makes their aura shine. So it's something that is invisible, but it's still. There was a time where they were not invisible for us, but they were really real for us. So people forget a lot of things in between. I don't know what happened to us, but we sort of fell asleep, and we are waking up again.
Well, it seems like
So
human beings have periods of being awakened.
yes, and we need to stay awake because we need to keep our lamp burning. And this fashion, the fairies and elementals help me to create them. So they give me a lot of ideas all the time. So I think that's one amazing source of creativity for me. And they're so busy, and we're making a lot of things all the time. A line of gardens that you can dress on, wearable gardens that we're working on right now. But of course, it is also the practical side of this, because with all of these garments are one size, and you can recycle your existing wardrobe with them and renew your old clothes, and every accessory you can renew them because they're all completely timeless too, so they never get out of fashion. That's the one thing. And of course there are people who can really play with I call it my magic wardrobe, and they find it very practical too, because less is more. So this is sustainable. You don't need so much because you have one thing, one garment even, and you always feel chic in that. You can always wear it anywhere because it's all season, all event too. So you have much more time for yourself. Don't have to worry about what you're wearing and dressing up because it works everywhere. So you have free time to do something else like having fun or
I think,
time for yourself.
yeah, I think that's important. I mean, I think a lot of people's, I can look at a person and see e how much time it takes them to prepare to walk out of their house.
Mhm,
And it's an
exactly.
incredible investment of time
It
that
is.
people have even in selecting some of the most, apparently basic wardrobes. Like our hipster culture here. I mean, I think these kids or these people put so much effort and attention into creating a certain look that it consumes their identity.
Yeah.
Here, I think what you're saying is that through having, a few of these garments, you don't have to bother having your identity and your time consumed, that it's easy. It's easy to wear.
Yeah. And they represent you. Uh, it's all about the life purpose is to become you. So this is completely different from the mass fashion that's taking you away from yourself. This is something that you can really express yourself. And in each of these garments and accessories, they look completely different on different persons. So it's one way of finding yourself and emphasizing that this is me and this is what I want to wear. Mm. Yeah, it's just very self-empowering. Uh, but of course, I know the pressure that the mass fashion brings puts on the young people, especially because they said if you don't look like this, you're not accepted. It's but luckily the young people have become very conscious and they're changing even the fashion. In China, they all have their Louis Vuittons now, and that now I get a lot. I have a shop in Helsinki, so I get a lot of Chinese people coming in, and even this dress is unique. I made a collection for unique pieces, and they really sort of go crazy about it because they want to be unique. Imagine Chinese people want to be unique, but the young people, they sort of well. I would say that it's only a matter of time when this sweatshop fashion business will fall apart, like the Shaggy factories. So it's all about the new consciousness and putting on the right kind of clothes that have the pure energy, individual fashion, good vibration. It's our body has changed. So you know that you can even have a most beautiful garment in your wardrobe and you still don't wear it because the energy is not right. And it's the same with food and everything. It's our body doesn't accept things that are not right for us. So this is one opportunity, my fashions for people who want to dress individually and with the good vibes too. So it's
Why? Yeah, I think that that's
what
great,
I
Mai. I
offer.
think this has been a, I think that this has been a really wonderful session with you. I feel like I have a better understanding of your fashion, its evolution, how it's designed to assist people. And I really thank you for being a part of this program. Do you have
Thank you.
any closing thoughts that you want to share with people? Any inspiring words?
Yes, I think what I would like everybody to sort of understand that, um, well, talk about golden age or the new time, new earth. It's based on our everyday choices, how we choose. It's not automatic. It doesn't come like that. We have to choose every day, every moment by creating it. So it's like even the fashion or clothes that everything that we buy or wear, everything, even the little things, they determine the future, our future, and the future of our children too. So it's conscious.
Mm,
This is fashion for conscious consumers. So let's be conscious of our choices. But of course, our body consciousness also determines quite much, a lot already, because it's come very active. If we choose wrong, we get fast karma and we feel bad. If we choose right, we feel good. But also when we start being ourselves and start doing the things that we came here to do, our share of the creation, we start feeling better too.
mm.
And
That's beautiful too.
yeah, and that's why I'm so grateful that you invited me, because I've been keeping this wisdom and this knowledge for me for a long time. So you're a real change
Well, you are
maker.
my. Uh, thank you. That's really nice. I've had this vision for this program for quite a while, and because I'm so busy with my normal work, I haven't had an opportunity to really energetically support this. And you and I were talking and talking about your fashion. I really wanted to see it come. I want to see it happen to manifest. And I really appreciate you being the first one. Now, for anybody who's listening to this program, I do want to let you know that you can actually email me at cristobowers.com. And I am also looking for other amazing people to interview in this process. Um, so if you happen to know of anybody who you think would fit nicely into this program, you can either refer them to me yourself or have them contact me. That way it's a warm transfer. and we can set something up for next month. I'd like to offer this Amazing People series at least once a month. So I'd love to find somebody who can talk with me about bees, butterflies. I love the fact that Mai was able to talk to me and talk to us about fashion and any other topic of importance that you seem to be connected with.
That's really, I think this is really very fantastic. I mean, we are the real earth angels. So you are a really good example, and I will also want um, to show and talk about the earth angels that I know, that I feel that are doing a good job in the material level to do the loving action here, not just the spiritual level, but bringing the heaven to the earth and really creating here. So I think that's the whole new level of spiritual work, that we actually take actions and also
Yeah,
introduce each other to the world.
I think, I agree with you, Mai, 100% that the kingdom of heaven doesn't manifest on earth without our help and assistance. If that were the case, it would have happened eons ago.
Exactly.
But now this kingdom of heaven is embodied in each one of us, and we have to participate, we have to cooperate, right? We have to work together with that part of ourselves that is attempting to incarnate our our piece of heaven that we carry with us into the material plane.
Yeah.
The worst thing that I think can happen is that people wait, they want God to do it for them. But in
Yeah,
my
exactly.
opinion, yeah, go ahead if you have any thoughts about that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's
Yeah,
teamwork.
you can't wait for heaven to drop out of the sky. It is teamwork. And
Yeah,
I know I can feel in your energy field that, the exertion, the amount of effort that you put forth has been incredible, right? It's been, for lack of a better word, taxing to try to change the world around you that already has been changed by other people by thousands of years. And now you're attempting to change the nature and organization of it, right? And that's not an easy task.
no, we are
So,
not.
I encourage,
We didn't come here to do to small things. We came here to do big things.
I agree wholeheartedly. We came here to do big things. It also takes us, operating together with our spirit. And that's one thing that I really like about you, Maya, is that I think that you're answering the I am's call of your own spirit. A lot
Exactly.
of people, they hear their I am presence call and they ignore it because of the significant amount of work that's involved with it. Some people will receive a download like that and they'll ask the second question. Isn't there a Cliff Notes version? Isn't there an easier version? Isn't there a version that fits into my life as it exists right now? And God can't very easily fit into a box like that. So, you're attempting to accommodate God, which, I think takes an incredible amount of integrity to
Yeah.
do something of that nature and magnitude. So that's
Yeah.
why I think that you qualify for being an amazing person.
I'm a pioneer, so I always get to be the first, like in your show. So, but we are pioneers, and this was your first show, yours too. So we're both pioneers, and
Yeah,
it's a very good way to take things into a new level, to present each other if we have the possibility.
I think so.
So wonderful.
Well,
It was
my,
very
well,
important to
once
me.
again,
This.
and to me too, and I think to our listeners. So, thank you for taking time out of your day and sharing with us. And I'm going to leave the shop, myniemi.com and myfashiontales.fi, for those of you who'd like to see more of Mai's work and perhaps try it on yourself. as one of our listeners stated, Barbara, that you really have to experience your designs and fit them onto your body to know the energy behind them.
Yeah, that's where it all happens. It sort of comes like a second skin. It sort of sucks itself into it, and it's transforming. It's totally transforming. Some people have cried because they found their femininity again, and that's where it happens. So I recommend buy and try. At least then you know. Mm. Yeah. Then you have
So
to put
those
on,
are
then they start to work in your energy field, your aura. That's amazing too.
so those are our parting words. So buy and try,
Buy and
and
try.
let us know. Buy and
Yeah,
try,
then
let
you
us know.
know.
You can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here as well at Cristo@CristoBowers.com if you want to email me and share any personal thoughts about this particular interview. I'm sure that you're available for commentary. So give an email address that you want to share with us in the chat box.
Yeah, I write it down here.
Yeah, write it down.
Yeah.
And let's
You
see.
can
Mai,
share with me.
MAI, dot
MAI.
Niemi, Niemi, at
Yes.
wellho.com. It's WELHO.com.
Yeah, that Wellho actually
That
meets a wizard, so it's very suitable email address. We are the alchemists.
There we go. So contact is my.nami@wellho.com.
Yes, that's
And
correct.
thank you once again, Mai, for joining us. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And may you all have a blessed day. And may we all convene next time.
Thank you so much.